just starting to get going again. And, the way the music business has changed, I really don't have to be in Nashville. And I got a lot of friends in Nashville that have made it, since I moved back and got connections. So I'm just trying to get back into writing and put some songs out there, see what people think of them, and just see what happens. When I moved to Nashville, I wasn't trying to be an artist. I was just trying to be a songwriter. And I would record demos, and usually there would be a singer trying to make it as an artist, and I would get them to record my songs, or they would want to record one of my songs. So being out here, I got to sing my own songs. So, so I'm, doing the best I can singing my songs, and just see what happens. What my main hope is that someone maybe notice one of my songs and want to record it, and that would be my dream, because as a songwriter, I'm not much of an entertainer, really. That's not my personality, is to be in front of a crowd entertaining. It's more writing.
Yeah.
But so I'm kind of getting out of my comfort zone doing stuff like this, but it's the only thing I can do being out here. So
yeah, it's one thing to perform a song, like, to get up in front of a crowd, with all that bunch of gusto and razzmatazz, to have like a good performance, but it's another thing to actually sit down and write something. And I think that's one thing a lot of country musicians nowadays, or a lot of the things that people don't know about a lot of the country music songs, is not actually written by their artists. They're written by like a person like you who enjoys writing songs to say, hey, like, I'll send this out with a wing on a prayer, somebody wants to record it and make it big, hey, this is like, but that's a very noble position. And, it's one that has a lot of, it's very tough to do. Not everybody can write songs, and it's a gift, I think, to be able to write good music. And that was a great song to hear.
Cool. Yeah, most people really think whoever's singing that song wrote it. My dad, my mom was just talking about a song, and I was like, saying how good of a songwriter this guy was. And I go, well, he didn't write that song, and she's like, well, he sings it, and I'm like, well, it doesn't mean he wrote it.
Yeah, it doesn't mean he wrote it.
I just like Willie Nelson, Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. Forever, I thought he wrote that song, because he's a song. Everybody knows him as a songwriter, but he never wrote that song, and I didn't find that out till I was a lot older. So most of my life, I thought he wrote that song. And a lot of the songs, of his songs that are big hits, he didn't write. So but most people don't know that.
Yeah. Personally, I was crushed when I found out Kenny Rogers didn't write The Gambler. But then because that's just a masterpiece there. But Kenny Rogers performs it so well, and I thought, oh man, he must have written that, come to his soul.
It does. It adds a little something extra when the artist performs it really well and it's written by them. Brooks and Dunn, had half their songs off their first album were hits, and a lot of those they wrote themselves. I believe Neon Moon, written by Ronnie Dunn. But not all of them were written by them. It adds a little something extra, but
as a songwriter, I always like to look on the album and see who wrote the songs. And one thing that I always look for is a song that the artist wrote by themselves. Because they're always, if you look at, like I look through Brooks and Dunn's, all their songs, and they've always got a great songwriter usually, but there are some that Ronnie Dunn wrote all by himself, huge hits. And that's what's impressive to me, is when I see an artist who wrote the song by himself, no help, and he's an amazing songwriter. Whenever you hook up someone with a great songwriter, because I've done it a lot with artists, written with people who never written before, and they just they got good ideas and kind of know what they want to write about, but they don't know how to put it together, or they've just never done it before. And so a lot of times, the writer's doing all the writing and the other person's kind of just giving ideas and, yeah, I like that, or I don't like that. So that's, yeah, if I see a singer who's got songs written by himself and they're big hits and they're good songs, then, I mean, that's huge. I totally respect that. And I respect it anyways, but even if it's written with another writer, it still means something, but it means more when it's all by himself.
Yeah.
And he's got lots of them that he wrote by himself. It's lots of good hits.
Yeah. And I think that's what's cool about this album too, that we're breaking down. We're breaking down, the original Kix Brooks album and this, his breakout album. And I'm glad to see, at least on the track list, that Brooks had a stake in every one of these songs that they wrote. Yeah. And particularly one that we're going to get to eventually, Baby When Your Heart Breaks Down. Like that's, I believe that is the 6th track. So that'll be in a couple episodes, but that's written solely by Kix Brooks himself. And I can't wait to break that down and, really get into it there, because that's definitely, I think, going to be something that's cool to see.
Yeah, it's awesome. So did you guys, when did you guys start listening to Brooks and Dunn and, decide to do all this?
I started listening to Brooks and Dunn just as a kid on the radio.
Yeah.
So I'm 25. Alex is my cousin here. He is just turned 20. So 2000s, I was listening to, my parents both like country music. I was listening to them on the radio. We called the podcast Red Dirt Road Podcast. The Red Dirt Road, the song came out and the album came out in the 2000s. So that was, really big when I was, growing up. It wasn't, kind of older. That was kind of what was really on the radio.
Yeah.
And then last year I started getting back more ever since I graduated college. So a little bit over a year ago, I started getting more into country music again. I kind of got away from it, got into more rock and hip hop and rap. And then now I kind of listen to all three of them. I listen to country a lot. And when Brooks and Dunn came out with their reboot album last year, started getting into them even more. Luke Combs is on the album, which actually is the first time I even heard him. So, and then this year I started thinking about it and got Alex to do this with me, because I knew that he's a big country fan in general, country music fan. So we started recording episodes in late April. We recorded just a few, like once every day, and then started putting them out in May. So last month.
Cool. So I don't even know what a podcast really is. I mean, where does it go? Like once you do this, how do people find it?
I will edit it, and we put them out on Anchor. It's a podcasting website, and it spits it out to a bunch of different podcast platforms. You can listen to it. You can listen to it on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts. There's like a whole bunch. Anchor is a free service. You can get the app or whatever. A lot of people use Spotify. So I don't really, I'm recording it right now. We don't really use the visual. I'll take like a screenshot, post it on our Facebook, but I don't really post the video part of it, just because I don't know, it's not really very important right now. So it's pretty much just the audio is what people are going to be hearing.
Okay. Yeah. Usually it's just the audio. I mean, maybe at one point we can graduate to having a visual podcast, but for the moment, just audio.
Cool.
So before you go, I guess I'll ask, I got a question. So sort of for like modern country music, I think it's making a comeback a little bit with good sort of quality singer-songwriters. it was down there a little bit in the early 2010s, but I think Luke Combs, there's a few others, Morgan Wallen, Riley Green, the guy I really like, making it, more sounding like, not really like old traditional, but more 90s sounding, or at the very least 2000 sounding, more than this early 2010s crap that you hear on the radio.
I think a lot of people are wanting that, they miss it. So I hear people talking about it all the time, complaining that it's just not country like it used to be, and it's not,
it's very strange how they even categorize music is something I want to find that out. How do they even say this song is a country song? Because I think I just heard the other day Meant to Be, which is actually not, I don't think it's a bad song, but it's not a country song really. Meant to Be is sung by Florida Georgia Line, and I don't even know how to say her name. BB Rexa.
Yeah.
I think it broke the record for like it was like a year, like 51 weeks in a row at number one, which if you were like looking on that on paper from like another country or something, and you never heard the song, you would think this is the best country song ever. But it's really, it's just like, I don't think it's a bad song, but it's like not like a country song. It's not really a country song.
Personally, I mean, it does have a lot of Florida. I'll admit, when I first heard it, it was kind of like different from Florida Georgia Line's original sound. And I think that's one of the things that's difficult about, this new country. Like, how do you adapt? Do you have is it going to be like snap beats and like trap mixes that are on top of somebody singing country lyrics? Or is it actually going to be like the traditionalist, like Luke Combs style of music that he's trying to bring back the early 2000s when you look at early Kenny Chesney, early Brad Paisley, stuff like that? And I guess it remains to be seen how country music will evolve, because originally, like, you look at a lot of these artists that have started in the traditional sense of country music, but eventually work their way into like this new sort of electronic feel, which I don't really know if I like, but some of it is good, others is not. Like, you just take it like it is.
Hopefully it comes back. Seems like it always does come back around. It'll go through waves, kind of, or phases. And I know for me, seemed like it was in the mid '80s. I was pretty young, but there a lot of the, like, even Kenny Chesney, Dolly Parton songs were kind of poppy. Not pop like they are today, the country songs are today, but like, kind of like Islands in the Stream, kind of. There was a lot of kind of poppy. It was going away from country, and then there was still George Strait and Alabama were singing good songs in the '80s, but then like '89 came along, and I think it was Alan Jackson, Garth Brooks, and Clint Black, and a bunch, or Randy Travis came along there in the late '80s, and they all kind of just. It kind of turned it around, and just a couple good artists. And then everybody else wanted, it was selling. So everybody else started looking for artists like that. And, you just need a couple good artists come out that are successful. And then those record labels are going to start looking for other people. Different, but similar kind of music. And you just need someone really good to come out and start, like Luke Combs has done. And hopefully